we're going to get on over to share my screen. All right. Awesome. There we go. You should be able to see my screen loud and clear, right? Introduction to market forecasting, but we're going to sauce it up. Like I was telling everybody, I'm going to sauce it up a little bit, right? Talk about forecasting, but we're going to get into a little bit of stock forecasting, whereas it's similar to Forex well, it's actually pretty much the same, but one instrument you're going to be just trading the stocks. The other instrument, we know how we do in Forex with the Forex factory, of course. But I just wanted to give y'all a little bit of extra information just for showing up to class today, right? So that's going to be the nugget you tell your classmates or your accountability partners that did not hop on the call tonight, right? You're going to contact them and you're going to be like, that was an awesome call, right? You're going to put it in the group. That was an awesome call. We actually got some new nuggets tonight, right? We got some new nuggets tonight from the resilient Baker, Jeremy Glover. So we're going to get it started. All right. So make sure you define market forecasting and its importance, right? It's very important that you forecast the market, right? Because that is actually a confirmation and a check mark, right? In order to actually place the trade, right? So identify three types of market analysis. This is very, really key component to it. Understanding basic market structure, right? And that's your head and shoulders patterns. These are the patterns that we see in the market. So apply forecasting techniques to a currency pair. But we're going to apply it to not only currency pairs. This class, we're going to apply it to currency pairs plus stocks, right? We're going to have a look at some stocks on the chart and see what type of forecasting we can look at with which in actual stock world, forecasting is earnings, right? So you look for a company's earnings. So the earnings is equivalent to your Forex factory, right? Understanding market forecasting, predicting future market price movements, the importance of it, right? Helping traders make informed decisions, right? Reducing uncertainty and manage risk, enhance profitability through strategic planning, right? So that's why you have to have a strategic plan, which is your trade plan, in order to execute your trades properly, right? Or in order to execute your trades, with confidence, because the main thing is being confident in your trading, right? Being confident in what you have going on, right? So when you press that button, you have to know that you're actually in the right trade, right? And then when you get out your trade, know that you're confident enough to actually make profits and have enough self-discipline to actually stay out if you need to stay out, right? These are the things that we actually go over in our classes, right? Types of market analysis, right? We have technical analysis, uses price patterns, indicators, and historic data, right? These are the different type of market analysis, right? You have different people that actually trade just technical analysis. You have people that trade fundamental analysis. You have people that just trade sentiment analysis. But you have people that trade all three. You have people that trade just two, right? There's no right or wrong. Whatever works for your personality, right? Because that's why in our trade plan, right, we actually go over what type of trader you are, right? And that is super important. But you're not going to be able to decide what type of trader you are just from saying that I want to be a scalper, right? Just from saying that I want to be a long-term trader. I want to be a position trader, right? Because if you just say that, that's fine. You said it out your mouth, right? But your personality, right? Your personality trait is how you're actually gonna become that actual position trader, how you're gonna actually become that scalper, right? Just because I may scalp doesn't mean, right? Doesn't mean that you're gonna be a scalper, right? Because my personality is different from your personality, right? Everybody has different personality traits or similar personality traits, right? So fundamental analysis examines Economic indicators, financial reports, and news events. So that's heavy in the stock market, right? In the stock market, in forex market, we look at forex factory. We look to see what session we're in, all that good stuff before we actually place the trade. So that's similar to the fundamental side of forex, which is the economical indicators, the financial reporting. So those will be actual when you look at a stock and you see it has earnings, and I'm gonna go over this as well once we get on the chart, and you see it has earnings. The earnings are going to be at the bottom of your actual trading view, right? And when you click those earnings, it's actually going to give you the financial reports of these companies, right? And what they made the last quarter in earnings, right? And these are definitely key to actually executing a stellar trade when it comes to forex and the stock market, right? All right, so sentiment analysis, right? Evaluates traders' behaviors, news sentiments, and market psychology, right? So this is really, really key when it comes to the sentiment analysis, right? Traders' behaviors. What are your behaviors, right? Some of your behaviors may be, getting into a bad trade and staying in a bad trade, right? You don't want to do that. You don't want to get into a trade and stay in a bad trade, right? You want to get in a good trade and stay in a good trade. But sometimes as a scalper, right, we stay in a good trade less time than we stay in a bad trade, right? And that's not good, right? You got to have those different triggers, those different things that actually, trigger, which are stop losses, right? Which is alerts, alerting you that you have dropped below a certain price and you probably want to get out your trade, right? You probably want to get out of the market right now. And when you get out, or you may want to hold that trade because you know that it's going to turn around and do its thing, right? So you're going to be patient in that trade. So this is why, it could kind of be a double-edged sword, because you might want to be patient in a good trade that looks bad, right? But then you won't actually want to, get out of a trade that is a good trade, but you're not in it long enough, right? And then you look at the chart and you see where it's going, and it goes where you say it's going to go, but you don't stay and be patient in that good trade, right? So, and just like I say, I fought for that, trading, because I'm a scalper, right? So when I hold a trade for over an hour, or over 2 hours, over 3 hours, I'm excited, right? I'm feeling good about it, because that's something that I have don't really do. So, and when I do it, and it's successful, right? I may have made a little bit more money just by being patient in that trade, right? Prime example, when we actually get on at 9:30 or at 8:50 in the morning, and we press the button buy or sell, right? If I believe that it's a good trade, and I do believe it's a good trade because it's called by a great person, right? It's called by a great teacher, a great sensei, right? So, you're really going to trust his trades when you actually hit buy or sell, right? And then most of the time, I may stay in those trades longer, right? Because I know for a fact he's a long-term trader, right? So if he's looking at it on a more of a long-term, visual, right? Why wouldn't I stay in my trade a little bit longer and um protect my profits with a trailing stop, right? So basic market structure, trends, uptrends, higher highs, downtrends, lower lows, side trends, stay out of the side trends, right? Ranges, price consolidates between support and resistance. So there's certain things that you can actually trade to actually make money within those ranges. You have to be confident and understand, where those ranges are, if it's a strong range or not, right? If it's a strong support or strong resistance, is it going to bounce off of that resistance once more, or is it going to break through resistance, right? And this is another way where patience can pay us, because if we are patient enough to stay out of the ranges and wait for the breakouts, right? And that's the next one, right? Breakouts are price movement beyond a key level, signaling potential new trends, right? So that's when the actual price breaks above, right? Comes down, retests, right? Or breaks below, goes up, retests, and makes a new high or makes a new low, right? You definitely want to capitalize on both aspects. So either you can be patient and stay out of the ranging, right? Or you can find a strategy that actually helps you make money within those ranges, right? All right, great homework assignment. Yeah, I love homework assignments, right? But just for all of you who showed up to class today, you already get 100 on the homework, right? Because you just showed up. Now you can tell your classmates that we made 100 on homework, right? Because just for showing up, maybe that'll get them on the call, right? Maybe that'll get some of your classmates on the call. But just like I said, man, it's probably just that time where people got a lot of stuff going on. So I am totally for that. But let everybody know in the group that you made 100 on your homework assignment for tonight, right? So you want to analyze a forex pair, right? And I normally do this for you, but we're gonna, just like I said, I'm gonna give y'all a little bit extra sauce today. We're gonna go over, a couple stocks as well that I'm looking at short term on a scalper standpoint. Also identifying current market phases, right? Trending, ranging, breaking out, right? And this is we capitalize on the breakouts, right? Write a short summary and explain your findings, right? So just put a check mark. You got 100 for tonight. All right. Why is market forecasting important? So these are the questions that you want to ask yourself. Why is market forecasting important, right? Which type of analysis do you find most useful, right? Is it the fundamentals? Is it sentiment? Or is it is it market structure, right? How can traders improve their forecasting skills? Well, just practice, right? Practice makes not perfect, but makes you stellar, right? It makes you stellar in whatever you have going on. The more you practice, the more you are that much close to perfection, right? None of us are perfect, right? Only God is perfect. So yeah, open discussions on student insights and experiences, right? Awesome. Let's get it. All right, so we're gonna go over to Forex Factory. We're gonna go over Forex Factory first. Then I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna show you earnings. Right, earnings is Forex Factory, but just for stocks. Right, so you get a little stock, education tonight as well. Just throwing on some extra information for the ones that showed up to class. Right, love it, love it. Appreciate everybody for tuning in with the resilient banker here. Right. All right. So what we look at on here was what? What do we look at on here? Somebody tell me what we look at on here, right? What do we like to look at on this screen? What are we mostly looking at? These are all right. So the red folders, right? We got awesome, Mr. Banks. Let's go. All right, all right, Miss Middleton. Let's go. All right, let's get it. Let's get it. See, this is why. Oh, she said, "Do you want my cat?" Hey, Miss Middleton. Hey, I'm down with that. I'm down with that for sure. But this is why I gave everybody 100, right? I already gave everybody 100 on the actual homework because look, red folders, red envelopes, news, red and orange folders. Awesome, Mr. Banks. Awesome, Miss Middleton. Let's get it. Let's get it. So which means y'all pretty much understand what we're looking for, right? Which is good. We're looking at the different currency pairs. We're looking at the different folders. We're also going down here. We're looking at what session we're in, right? And the sessions have lit up green already. We are actually in an overlap, which this is where a lot of the money is being made. So AUD is suspect right now. JPYs are suspect right now, meaning, right? Meaning they are the ones that are volatile right now and actually able to make some money right now on those sessions, right? Awesome, awesome. We are 11 deep now. Let's get it. Let's get it. As everybody trickles in, love it, love it. So we went over Forex Factory, right? That's part of market forecasting. But I also wanted to show you on the stock side of things where you find your earnings, right? So earnings for stocks will be on yahoo.com, right? I go to yahoo.com because yahoo.com actually where you can find stocks at. Or you can just type in earnings list and they'll pop up, right? Or you could go, I usually go to yahoo.com and actually analyze a list just like this of different companies that are actually about to have earnings, right? And this is what I came upon. I came upon Cisco, right? The reason why I came upon Cisco, not only is it only like $80 a share, so which means contracts are going to be low, right? When you're actually doing the actual volatility side of the stock side of things, or you can look for it, get into it on long term. Now, when I go down here, there's an E down here at the bottom, and that E, right, are earnings, right? And these earnings are tomorrow. And this is what I look for in the actual Forex market as well. I look to see who's having news tomorrow, because that's really when a lot of volatility is happening. That's when a lot of money is being pumped into the markets, right? And then on top of that, if you want to tap in a little bit deeper, right, earnings and revenue, you see it says estimated earnings. So that's pretty much they're looking for earnings to jump over a dollar and 38 cents, right? $1.38, and total revenue they're estimating it to be at 21 billion, right? 21 billion. But if you want to go and look at the previous financials, right? You can pull up the previous financials. This is their income statement, right? These are where you find, and I've come to find out under here, I've just figured out, I've seen that they had dividends, right? They paid dividends. So, which means people are in these stocks long term, right? Because they're getting paid dividends, right? And dividends are paid out to you either monthly, quarterly, or sometimes every week, depending on the actual stock, right? So you got statements, right? You can go in here and look at their income statements, growth and profit statements, and as you can see, right, all of these 2024, in 2024 is when it started actually decreasing, right? But the reason why I went for this stock is not only because it's low, but also Cisco is a food corporation. I actually graduated from culinary school. So everybody pumps their money into, I don't have this stock long term. I'm just trading it short term for the earnings tomorrow, right? And so this is actually what the actual financials look like of it, right? Or you go to previous earnings, right? And you see estimate, but it was below estimate, right? They're estimating $1.39 over, right? So we want that to be over $1.39. And normally I will see this pre-market, right? Because see, in the morning, pre-market is when you actually see the actual line jumping back and forth, right? So you can tap into all the financials. I like to tap into all the financials when I'm looking at stuff like this, just to give it an extra eye, right? Before I actually get into those. But what I'm looking for this to do is to continue the uptrend, right? Continue the uptrend to continue. See, it's been an uptrend. So we trade with the trend, right? And that's the main thing. We want to trade with the trend. So you see these little ticks right here? Those are actually hours. Those are actually hours that nothing happened. So that was pretty much like a doji candle, right? We know about the doji candles. We study those doji candles. So that is key, right? But also put in the chat what pairs you want to look at, right? Also put in the chat what pairs you want to look at. Just like I said, this class, I want to give you a little bit of extra nuggets on, the Forex factory versus earnings, right? There's nothing versus nothing because one is stocks, and the other one is Forex. But Forex, if USD has news, that affects the stocks. So just like I say, it's the same and it's similar. So definitely wanted to show you this. So I went to Cisco, but I also know that we look. Miss Mosley asked about Nvidia, every once in a while. So let's look at Nvidia. I like to trade Nvidia. And as you can see, Nvidia broke a new high, right? It actually hit $77, $177, which is a new high for Nvidia, right? And that high was 75, right? That new high was 75, and it hasn't passed 75. Well, this right here made it past 75. But we're looking for this to come back down and touch that because it broke and made a new high, right? Which means it's gonna have to come back and touch that zone, right? The same rules apply. Same rules apply. That could be the pullback right here, could be the pullback right here, right? That could be the pullback for that. That could be, it hasn't pulled back down here yet. See, so it's going to either pull back down here to 7629 at least, right? At least. So what we could do is, what I like to do is I like to put an alert on here. And if that alert goes off by the morning time, I like to see about getting into it, right? About buying some more calls, right? I put in here buying more calls. All right, so and I'm gonna look at gold as well. So I'm just showing y'all what, if we got earnings, what do we look at, right? Then we have a bunch of them. So all these right here have earnings, right? The Cheesecake Factory have earnings. Camping World has earnings, right? So I look to see what I like to look right here is what price is it at. So as you can see, it's still making an inverted, right? It's still making an inverted, even though this is a stock. We're still making an inverted. So that's what I look at as well. And I would have gotten into that one, right? But I didn't get into that one. I got into Cisco instead. So we're gonna see how Cisco does tomorrow. But this has earnings tomorrow as well. And what I like to see, I didn't really look to see. And see, look, this earning right here is going to happen Tuesday, but it's going to happen Tuesday night, right? So it's going to happen Tuesday after the market closes. So after the market closes, that's what this little symbol right here means. After the market closes is when this one's going to actually be live. So, which is not bad, because if it's going to happen after the market closes and I get into this, for a call or put, buying or selling pretty much, then I'm going to be in a profit once the market actually hops on. If you want to tap into, who's the CEO, things of that nature, when it was founded, market cap, 3.2826 billion, right? With the big B, right? So, they give you all this information on these companies, right? And there's a lot of companies to research. But you just have to figure out which one you want in your long-term portfolio and your short-term portfolio, right? What you want to trade short-term versus what you want to, invest into long-term. Yes, ma'am. Sydney, Tokyo overlap is happening right now, right? Sydney, Tokyo overlap is happening right now, which is a good thing, right? Because that's when we makes the money. All right, US 30. We're going to look at the US 30. We got the JPYs. I see Mr. Banks is consistent with the JPYs. That's awesome. That's awesome that he's consistent with the JPYs. So we're going to go look at that, because as long as you're consistent with a actual pair, right, or marry that pair, then, success happens because you're being consistent. Consistent discipline and patience actually pays us. So we want to make sure we get paid on every Friday or every day if you want to do a withdrawal every day, right? SP 500, awesome. SP 500 are 500 US stocks inside, and they're normally, NAS is the tech. NAS is considered a tech stock. So let's see. We're gonna go. Who posted that first? Let's see. Okay, gold. Awesome, Mr. Tim. Let's get it, because I like to trade gold. Gold counts up and adds up, just like the US 30 and all that good stuff. But yeah, Tam, you put the US 30 in there first, so we're gonna go US 30. We might hit a trade on the US 30. Ooh, yeah. So, oh, there you go. There goes that daily pop. I don't know why that does that, but um, yeah, US 30. We just looking at right now. We're just looking at the um. You see it inverted happening, looking like it looks like an inverted. Also on the 5 minute though, so inverted on the 5 minute. What we looking like on right? So literally inverted, possible. But as you can see, if you see it inverted, right? Well, look at this. So this is why you can get, caught up, right, with trading, because you see the inverted, right? See this coming back down, but then you also see a small head and shoulders pattern right here, right? Which one is it going to play off of, right? Which one is that going to play off of? That's what we have to start stacking our odds, the odds in our favor, right? That's how we actually win the trade, is stacking odds in our favor. That means extra confirmations, right, with the indicators, with the market structure, all that good stuff, right? So, but we're gonna go and we're gonna erase what I just drew, and we're gonna go and find some structures, right? We're gonna go find it on the daily, right? If you see the daily though, like if you see like a long-term structure, the long-term structure is look like it's about to sell, right? Because we have one multiple touches, right? Two multiple touches, right? Three. It never haven't broke this high yet, right? It's struggling to break that high. Struggling to break that high. So let's see. So we're gonna use that high, right, as our structure. We're gonna use this low as our support. Support, resistance. Support, resistance, right? We want to drill that into your head that's what we see, right? And with that support and resistance, right, we are going to go down to the next time frame. Once we go down to the next time frame, right, what do we see? See the hour, right? See the hour. We're down here at the lower low of the daily, right? Higher high of the daily. So it pretty much did that all day. It was a sell, right? So you can best be looking for, reversal patterns to be happening right now, things of that nature for possible buys or continuation. So let's see where the indicators are at. All right. So this is between those indicators, right? That's between those indicators. That's So we're gonna go down to the next time frame, see what it's doing. So this is where we was looking at with the inverted, possible inverted. To me, it looks like we could be doing inverted. To be honest, like I say, it was doing this all day. Now it's in a kind of a sideways market with, I could change the different colors, or I could just do them like this, show you where it's stuck in. It's pretty much stuck inside this box. So I would say, right? I would say typically right now it's still looking like a downtrend, but like I said, these are a reversal pattern, right? The W with the pullback. So right here is still considered a shoulder. So we're looking for a buy on this, all right? we're looking for a buy on this. So even if we just buy it up to that line right there, or that indicator. So that's what the indicators are good for as well. A way to find out an exit, right? And I'll probably put my stop loss below this green line, because in case it drops below that green line. So we're gonna go long on this, right? Go long on this. And we're going to, if you hit there, it's 30 pips, but you can always do the 10. All right, we can always get the 10 going. 10 at that one. And as far as loss, you could put your 50 pip, right? 50 pip stop loss. So I would either do it below this last low right here, or if you want a little tight stop loss, if you want a tighter stop loss, I will put it right there. Only because that was the last low that happened right here, other than that one, right? Because it actually broke this indicator, right? So in order for it to break below this indicator, that means it's gonna eventually do a sell. So that 10 pips is gonna work, right? So let's see. Buy by market, right? Buy by market. We're putting stop loss at 15 pips. We're gonna hit TP for 10 pips, right? 44, 842, 10 pips. And we're gonna do 20 pips, right? 20 pips for the next one. And that's 862. TP2 at 44862. All right. And so on and so forth, right? TP3 at 44, 8. Was it 882 or 87? Let's see. 872, right? 872. Boom. All right, so we got 14 pips stop loss, which I don't believe that that's a bad stop loss. A pretty good stop loss. But you could do your 50, right? Your 50 would be passed down here, which would be a pretty good. Also, another good stop loss would be 50, because we won't have to worry about it dropping all the way down here as it's touching this zone right here again, right? And if it breaks this, then that's pretty much the hit of your stop loss, right? What we did, 15 pips right here. So we're gonna actually go to CAD now, and we're gonna come back to that one. Let's see, CAD JPY.